Raider Nation, the hunt for Ben Johnson and GM Spytek is getting real. But could another team's coaching search throw a wrench in our plans? Let's break down the latest rumors, news, and what it all means for the Silver and Black. Raider personnel.
Raiders. In your heart, in your eyes, keeping you warm.
We are back for the second week of the playoffs. The season still continues for the Raiders with all the drama, man. What's going on? The Raiders still looking for a coach, still looking for now GM. Since last week, we got off the call, and then the next day, GM gets fired. So,
You're
Tim
fired.
Telesco and Tom Brady's decision to fire both the coach and the GM. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we always knew Tom Brady was going to have a say on how we're going to run things, and he's not just bringing the New England way. He had those years with Tampa Bay, so he wasn't a fan of the New England way. Yeah. So it's more of a Tom Brady way. Bringing what he's learned from those two locations, I think we don't have to worry about some of the fans that are in fear of the McDaniels and Patriots way. But yeah, it's just from understanding whenever he talked to Bill, and I always thought it was like, hey, you want to come work type of conversation. But apparently it was like he asked Bill Belichick if advice on how to hire, how to run the organization. And I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick told him, was like, listen, Brady, you and me, we were stuck between together. We had the same ideas. We wanted the same goal. I was the GM, so the GM and the coach had the same mind. So I'm sure he was thinking, like, okay, I need to get a pair that's come hands in hand together. And the Raiders' jobs looks more enticing when you have an opening like that. And apparently it was enough to get the Ben Johnson interview. So in the end, that's what I believe we lost to Lesko. And then the AP thing, I've seen an article, I can't remember who it was from, but saying that Brady was just not a fan of how AP was running things, the locker rooms, the accountability on the players. And so it really did not work for what Brady was looking for to build a team. And Brady knows his goal. Brady's not just here just to make money off the Raiders. He's literally here to actually put his input and make a winning franchise, build a culture in us. It's like, I understand, even though Telesco gave us a great draft, we got some really good players. Brock Bowers, he don't even have to say much about that. And then Powers, and then even Glaze had some really good moments as a tackle. And we had a rookie defensive tackle. I forgot his name, but he was coming up whenever we needed him with all those injuries. So I do feel about that. But in the end, if that's what gets us Ben Johnson, then I'm all for it. If that's what Ben Johnson needed, hey, I want that opening, work with somebody I know, then that would be, then I'll accept it. That's what it has to be. It's just, it hurts when you have to go 2 years in a row of getting rid of your coach and your GM after 1 year.
Coaches.
Yeah.
No, when I got the news, rough. Man, that Telesco was gone, I was like, oh, man, here comes Brady. Yeah, like Brady taking over, bringing in the Patriots way. When I heard Belichick was involved in this.
Right.
Like, I was like, oh, no, I don't want, McDougal's back.
McDougal's and, the other guy.
I don't want to Garoppolo as my quarterback. Those kinds of thoughts came to mind. I panicked, bro. I was like, man, what is going on? But looking back, a week now, and it's like, okay, Brady means business, man. He does mean business. That's influential. Yeah. He's a guy that on the field and off the field, you know what I mean? He makes everyone better around him. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm excited about the situation.
Definitely. Definitely. And he's right. Brady's been in it. That's the greatest quarterback. And he was always a team guy. He was never a me guy. So it was always team building and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, we don't get the Ben Johnson interview if it wasn't for Brady. Because my understanding, Ben Johnson already knows the teams that he wanted to coach for. And those are the teams that he gave the interviews to. And we weren't on that list until Brady took over. And then I don't know what he told him, but I know last week when Brady was doing the play-by-plays during one of the bye weeks, I think he was talking to Ben Johnson on the field. I wonder what those two are talking about. It's enticing. Like, we don't have the quarterback. Like, I get it. there's like the Bears job for me is just like the one that stands out the most because you have a premier prospect in Caleb Williams, but everything I hear is like the organization is not that good. The GM is like on the hot seat. Does he want that where he has to deal with another GM? Will that organization take Ben Johnson's advice on the GM? You know, over there, I'm pretty sure he was like Brady told Ben. I'm assuming, you know, I'm not assuming. I'm guessing that he was like, listen, we have an opening. I know the GMs that you work with. We could give me some names. I could bring some in and we can talk about it. We're going to have you and this GM and me on the same page. You don't have to deal with Mark. You just have to deal with me. And then my understanding is like circles in Brady is Brady doesn't want to have full control. He wants to control who to hire, but he wants those people that are hired to do the job. So Brady's not going to be the GM. Yeah, he's not going to be doing like drafting and all of that. He's going to have his input. They're going to all three talk, but he wants them to do the job. And that's why he wants the GM and the head coach married, that they're both on the same cylinder. So which in the end, that's what makes sense to get rid of Telesco. Because I don't know how Telesco's circle is. As far as I know, it's just Chargers and then here. And then he definitely hasn't had the best options or choices when it comes to picking coaches. Because Telesco didn't pick Harbaugh. It's like, been, as far as I know, exactly. Phillip Rivers was like the only good quarterback, and after that, they couldn't find anything. And so,
I mean, to see him go, I was concerning.
It was very weird.
All the trauma from the last few years, and just being a dysfunctional organization, and it sounds like he's going to bring this together, and they're going to create an identity as an organization as a whole. You know what I mean? Not just from the root up, right? So that's it's all good. It's all sounds good, right? But
exactly.
Is it enough? He makes these decisions happen.
Exactly.
Now, for the choice of GM, I hear the name tossed around, John Spytek from Buccaneers, right? So
Buccaneers, assistant GM, I think it is.
Together.
I definitely, they have some time together, and I think they also have some time together in in New England, like in the early stages of Tom's career. And he's been like around a bunch of building places, so he has a good reputation. That's of course if we get. I think that's if we get Ben Johnson. I also know I think his last name is Agnew. I think it's something like that from the Lions, assistant GM as well. That could have been another person that he could be looking into. And that's if we go after Ben Johnson, or even if we go after Aaron Glenn, which I still don't think we would, because Aaron Glenn is going to be a defensive player turned defensive coordinator, first year coach, which is AP all over again. At least with Ben Johnson, first year coach, but he was an OC for 3 years with the same team, and he's an offensive minded coach. We're going to a little bit different with Ben Johnson. But that would be a great pickup, great team building. Tampa Bay had a lot of great players. They really had some really good, especially on the defense. They had some really good players. Jameis Winston, the year before Tom Brady, he's had 30 interceptions, but he also had 30 touchdowns. You know, that's still very impressive. And you have to have talent on that team to be that, to do all that. And they have talent. As soon as Brady came in, they only signed like a few players in Gronk, and they won the Super Bowl and then got back to it as well. So I'm definitely excited. I don't know his connection to Ben Johnson. Is this something like, obviously we can't talk to Ben Johnson during this time, but I don't know if they got a feel from him, like when they did the interview, that, hey, what do you think about these names, and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited.
That's we got to wait and see everything, right? I mean, Pete Carroll's name is still thrown out there. What do you think of that?
I mean, the only negative about Pete Carroll is that the guy is 71, I think, or 72.
Yeah.
Like, I could see him in 2 years that he's done. I've also I just recently read this before we got on, that if it's Pete Carroll, he wants to bring in Robert Saleh as a DC to groom him into taking over for him as head coach.
Oh, really?
So, so that's what I had just read. And then Saleh, he's a defensive coordinator genius, and he also had the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, like the two most toxic.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers kind of
franchises and quarterback.
More than
exactly,
Saleh.
more of him. I did not like he didn't have a voice, but then again, the owner of the Jets is micromanager, and Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. You really can't say much to him. Like I said, man, it's always the first-time coaches. You can't hold them accountable for that first time. They're learning. Yeah. So if he's sitting with Pete Carroll, showing him the ropes, Pete Carroll stays for 2 years. He's our DC. He makes our defense really good. And Pete Carroll's already built a culture. He's built a team. He's done it with a quarterback. And at that time, Russell Wilson's potential wasn't that high. He opened it up for him and did all that. So he's not too bad. It's just his age is definitely not something when we're talking about consistency. Ben Johnson and the GM, that's at least 5 years if everything going well. And that sounds better than 2 years. And we don't know about Robert Saleh. New England just went through with that when they got rid of Bill Belichick. They got Gerard Mayo, former Patriots player, groomed him to take over as head coach, and they only gave him 1 year. They fired him. So that's always a big risk. But
he did pretty well once that kid stepped in, the quarterback. I forgot his name.
Oh, Pete Carroll?
Not Pete Carroll, dude. I'm talking about Mayo, the Patriots.
Oh, Jared Mayo, yeah.
He did good with the
what's his name? He's a rookie, Drake May.
Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to say Mayo too, but
Mayo, right? Drake May and Mayo.
Drake May, he did good after the games were a lot better, at least, and I think they won like 2 more games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess
it just wasn't enough. Yeah,
I mean that's a young team, dude.
That's a young team, and literally they say that's the team that has the least talent on offense. Like, how you gonna expect anything? Like, their receiving corps was like last in the league. The offensive line was like second or third to last in the league. The tight end was last in the league. And that's what do you expect? Look at us. We had a solid team, but we had last in the league in quarterback play, and look where we're at. So,
well, okay, let's say we go for Ben Johnson. He gets hired, and I mean, he's known for having a dynamic type of offense, motion, really fast players, creating chaos on the defense.
Knows how to figure out if it's zone or man, stuff like that.
Yeah. How does our personnel? I mean, I could see, Abdullah or the Tucker or Trey Turner to, create those routes as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Jacoby. No. Jacoby's not so fast, but we don't have a back.
No, we don't have a back.
The Lions have the double header back of
Jamar
Sonic
Gibbs,
and Knuckles, right?
Yeah, and
so,
Montgomery, yeah.
If we get Ben Johnson, I don't think it's going to be a good year necessarily. I mean, we might end up 8-8,
right?
And that would be like, all right, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
We broke through a threshold because I don't think that it's going to be off the bat a good thing. It's going to have to grow still.
Definitely. And I think that's what Brady is going to be preaching to Ben Johnson. Listen, this ain't going to be like it was before, like only 1 or 2 years, 3, 4, 5 year program. We'll get it together and we'll actually build. But I believe we got talent on the offense. And everybody's thinking, oh, Brock Bowers like Laporta's. Like, I'm thinking Brock Bowers is going to be like Amon St. Brown. I think he's going to be like St. Brown. Like, he's going to be our man. And then if we keep Mayers will be our Laporta. And then Jacoby, number 1. We definitely going to need another receiver. So I don't know if we go after Higgins or if we don't get a quarterback, if we get a receiver from the draft as our first-round picks. And then that will definitely bring it up. But we have a decent O-line. We're not terrible. We have some solid players. We definitely have about $100 million in cap. We do have to re-sign some of our players, but we will have money to get something. And that's just I think more about next year is not about like how many games we win, but more of like how do we look? Like if our offense looks competent, like we're actually like really playing bad we lose the game because not our offense was making bad plays. It's just because we don't have the quarterback for it. I'm assuming if we don't get Shador. So that's probably what it'd be if everything looks good, if the locker room is working well, if the game management is like up there to par for what a real team is supposed to look like, then I think 8-8 would or 9-8 wouldn't be so bad because we're gonna be like, okay, we actually look like a real team. But
that'd be a massive improvement.
Massive improvement, yeah. And we need to have something to keep Crosby happy. Because in the end, if we don't start off so hot, we might end up trading Crosby, and it'll be a great haul. But you're still trading Crosby. That's your guy. That's your culture setter, and and I don't see Brady wanting to do that. Brady understands the importance of a defense. He's won his first few titles because of a badass defense.
Since nothing's set in stone right now, man, what do you think McCarthy leaving the Cowboys? Does this make a dent here in our coaching?
From what I understood, it was actually a really bad move on the Cowboys' part. because I think by the rules of the NFL, he can't have no conversation with any of the players or of the coaches in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
Or Ben Johnson also said he was only going to take interviews from the teams he wanted to, and within that their bye week, he said after that he was not going to entertain any questions or any interviews, until after the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys are in that position where they can't interview him. He's going to have this whole time thinking of, I already talked to the Raiders. I already know what they're offering. I already know what the Bears are offering and whatever other teams. And so I think they put himself in a bad position. Mike McCarthy, the Bears are already interested in him. If the Bears have a feeling that Ben Johnson is going to sway to the Raiders or they don't want to wait, let's say, because if the Lions win this weekend, then we're talking about they probably won't get an interview till after the Super Bowl. And by that time, that's weeks in. The Raiders, it's okay for us to wait for it because that's it. That is our guy. And Pete Carroll is sitting there. I don't see anybody else that wants to pick up Carroll. Not saying anything negative about him. It's just the age and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they put themselves in a bad position.
There's always room on the Fox panel.
Yeah, they always got space. Yeah, especially always spots. Come on down.
They over there with Jimmy Jones and Teddy Bradshaw.
Bradshaw and Michael
Terry
Strahan.
Bradshaw.
Yeah, Terry Bradshaw, Michael Strahan.
The OGs, bro.
And Howie Long, former Raider.
Howie Long for sure. He's probably the youngest out of the panel.
He definitely looks it. And Strahan. Yeah. He looks just as young as Strahan. And I think Strahan is way younger than him.
Strahan. Yeah, I think he's like 20 years younger, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All I've been seeing is how the steam of Ben Johnson coming to the Raiders has been blowing up. He likes what he's been told of how things are going to be ran. And he's not tied up to anybody. He can literally get his own quarterback. He can pick his own GM. And the Vegas, no state tax. And as far as I know, it's beautiful living there. If you get out of the strip, it's just like just a regular suburb style. It's going to be great living
just
there.
Hella hot.
Yeah, it's just hella hot. Exactly. So, yeah, I'm excited, man. It's like I already know my feelings about Pete Carroll, so I hope we get Ben Johnson. But if we do get Pete Carroll, I won't be mad because Robert Saleh is a great defensive coach. And I think awesome.
We're headed in a positive way, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for where the Raiders are going to go with Tom Brady. And I mean, it sounds like he's in it to win it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not just there to pick up the check.
Yeah. Let's not forget Richard Seymour is also an owner. I mean, he was a Patriot, but he was also a Raider.
Yeah, former Raider.
Yeah.
Once a Raider, always a Raider, man.
Yep, exactly.
That's how it is.
And then of course Tom Brady, native from the Bay Area, so he has some relation, at least some familiarity with the
exactly. And he has, I think he has a personal hate for the 49ers too.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what we want. I mean,
exactly.
I want to see it succeed. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't like what he's doing. It's got to change. There's got to be some.
Right.
Something stamped on the ground. Remember that one time?
Right.
I forgot. What was that coach that buried the ball? Spaghetto? Something like that. Yeah, but similar to that, man. You just got to, Spagnola. No, not Spagnola.
That's the
Kansas
guy.
City.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. We'll remember.
Yeah.
Write it down in the comments.
But that was hilarious, man, and that's what I think this move is right here. But
exactly. It makes sense when you explain it to me because, like you said, you and me were both like, "Why Bill Belichick? Why Bill Belichick?" But that's different from hiring Bill Belichick. Is different from, "Hey, how do you think we should run an organization? How I should look at this? What is the situation I'm in? How would you run it?" That you'd be a fool not to take advice from the greatest head coach in NFL history.
At least one of them, right? I mean,
at least one of them. And whatever we say about Bill Belichick, he knows how to coach. Like game management, like he's definitely one of the highest IQ and game managers in the NFL ever. And of course, you pick his brain. You ask him stuff like that because he literally ran the organization. He was GM and coach. The GM he had there was basically to help him scout. In the end, it was his call. I like how everything is going. In the end, we don't have a quarterback, so my hopes are not going to be really high on, we're going to be really good and stuff like that. Because no matter which coach we're bringing in, I don't think Turner is going to be our OC. I think Pete Carroll has a guy already in mind. I know Ben Johnson he's going to be the OC, so he's going to want to do his own thing. Turner's coming from the Nerf Turner tree.
Right.
But it's not the same as what Ben Johnson wants to run.
Yeah.
So
no, that was for sure. We knew that if AP was fired, it'd be a whole revamp of coaches.
Yeah,
so.
And I think Patrick Graham might get a job. Who knows where? Right. There's definitely 7 openings, or 6 openings now. And he deserves it. The way he's done with our defense. With all the pieces.
I think he interviewed for Jacksonville.
Yeah, see that would be a good one. I know Robert Saleh interviewed for Jacksonville as well. I know Aaron Glenn. For me, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, they said that Aaron Glenn, the front runners for him is going to be, I believe it's the New York Jets and the New Orleans Saints. Because I know he played for the Saints, but I think he also used to play for the Jets as well as a corner. And so that's where they're going to come down to. I don't think, Ben, if you're trying to think of all the places that are available, like for somebody like Ben Johnson, who's turned down head coaching positions in the past, looking for the right choice, it's really just the Bears. But the Bears have already a quarterback, but they have a GM that's on the hot seat, and they have not good ownership. And I'm pretty sure Brady's, we're going to spend money. We're going to definitely pay. We're definitely going to bring people in, and we're definitely going to look for what you need. And then Jacksonville, you're already paying $200, you're already paying $60 million to a quarterback, and you got a lot of work to fix over there. At least with the Raiders, you're an empty slate and you're building it up. We have great pieces everywhere. You have a great owner in Tom Brady who's going to let you do your thing, and you got a GM that you can work with. You can hand choose to work with, and that seems like the best job, man. All the other ones, not Carolina, was it Tennessee? They're keeping their coach. But what does he want to do with that? The Giants are keeping Dabble. That could have been one. If Dabble was fired from the Giants, that could have been one that would have been another issue, because maybe he could have got Shedeur Sanders with the number 3 pick.
What makes them keep a coach with horrible?
And the GM, too. It's the same GM that didn't want to sign Barkley, but signed Daniel Jones. And now Barkley's breaking records in playoffs. Yeah, that thing they messed up badly, especially with the number 3 pick. They could have definitely been in that run for Shedeur.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. They can still get Shedeur, but it's going to be Brian Dabble. So that's why I feel like the Raiders' job seems more enticed. Like, we don't have the quarterback, but we have the freedom, we have the money, and we have the ownership that has the influence too, as in Tom Brady. It's a lot of influence with him. So I'm excited, man. You already know my feelings about AP. I was sad that he got fired, but everything that Tom Brady is saying and looking for is like, it makes sense. Yeah, it's going to be second year of him learning. His game management was an issue, and we're expecting something different.
I told you that last week, bro. It's like, hey, look, this is not matching here. Not where we're trying to go.
Exactly. This is not the type of culture organization we run. Yeah. And I think with Mark Davis, him being pressured by the players last year to keep AP, he didn't really do a full head coaching search. He did maybe 1 or 2, but he was going to pick AP. And
people like Tom Brady in your ear, you don't know better.
Exactly. And then we missed out on Harbaugh, so we saw what he did with the Chargers. So I think in the back of their minds, are we going to miss out on another coach? We could have got Harbaugh, but I catered to my players, my star players, which one of them is not even here anymore. Has to be traded.
Right. Yeah, man. So we'll see you next week.
Raiders. Watch them playoffs.
Yeah.
Raiders. Pretend the Raiders are in the playoffs.